Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to do a first impression slash review on the newest drugstore makeup that I purchased. A lot of these products right here are from e.l.f. Cosmetics because I did a huge order during the lockdown from the e.l.f. Cosmetics website. I also have a foundation from Wet n Wild, a few items from Pixi as well. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. So the foundation that I have is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Foundation. This foundation comes in 19 shades. It's not a lot for a drugstore foundation, but I feel like the shades are evenly spread out from very fair to very dark, deep skin tone. This retails for, I believe, around $20 the most in New Zealand. I honestly forgot how much it costs. This shade that I have is in Desert Beige, and this is described as a medium dark with warm undertone. Here is what Desert Beige looks like. The packaging comes in a glass container and it comes with a spatula applicator, which is not necessarily hygienic, but if you were going to use this foundation for your clients, if you're a makeup artist, I would highly suggest for you to just put it on a palette and use a brush. It doesn't smell as bad as the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. It smells a little bit more woody and it has a little bit more of that moisturizer smell as opposed to the Photo Focus foundation where it literally smells like paint. The shade is pretty identical to the Photo Focus, the original foundation, but it does blend out pretty nicely on the skin. I feel like this formula is a little bit thinner compared to the Photo Focus because the Photo Focus is thick, like she is thick, whereas this one right here has got a little bit of like a slip to it. I do love the dew that it gives. It doesn't necessarily give me like a very oily vibe, which a lot of dewy foundation tend to do. For reference, I do have oily skin, and now that it's winter time, I actually prefer a lot more dewier foundation as opposed to a matte foundation. It feels very lightweight and it actually dried down pretty good. And it's not tacky or anything like that. So for concealer, I have the new e.l.f. Cosmetics Hydrating Camo Concealer. I do have the original Camo Concealer. I have the shade Medium Neutral. Looking from the tube has got yellow undertone. I personally love a shade like this. So I'm going to just apply this over here and on the side. And I'm going to use a brush. I don't want to apply on both eyes because if it dries down, I'm gonna have a hard time blending the concealers. Oh wow, this neutral shade is very, very yellow. This should be called medium warm or medium golden, but it's blending out beautifully. It gave a really good coverage. It definitely brightened my eye, and it has more of a satin finish. Oh, I like the shade that I picked because I feel like it complemented the foundation. Also, the brush that I'm using is from e.l.f. as well. This is the Flawless Concealer Brush. I recently found this from Uncle Bill's, which is like a wholesale store that sells like really affordable stuff. And this was only $3. If you were to go to Kmart, they were selling the exact same brush for about 14 bucks. I don't have a new powder, so I'm just gonna quickly set my face with the powder that I have. And I am going to use this e.l.f. highlighting brush. I have been using this brush to set my face. It's such a good brush. So I'm just gonna quickly bronze my face. This is nothing new. This is just the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. For blush today, I know it's strange because I have already set my face, but I'm going to use this Pixi by Petra Sheer Cheek Gel, and this one is in the shade Natural. This has got more water-based gel formula that is supposedly going to help you make your blush last a lot longer. So it says that you can use it best as a blush primer, but personally I do love using this blush as a actual blush. I love how sheer it is, and you could actually build it up and it lasts throughout the day. I wore this product for 2 days straight on top of my foundation, and I did my errand. I was sitting in front of the heater because it's so freezing, and I got a little bit sweaty, and oh my gosh, it did not budge at all. Like, I could get away with just using this blush on its own, and I love the fact that it works great either underneath the foundation or on top of the foundation. I like to just quickly set it with whatever is left on my brush. This is not new, so it came with a set. When I purchased this, it came with a highlighting brush. The reason why I got this in a set because of this brush. This is surprisingly a lot better than the metallic flare highlighter that e.l.f. has, and this one is in the shade 74577. So I don't think they sell this shade anymore. It feels a little bit icy, but I swear it's a lot more pigmented than the metallic flare that e.l.f. has. I did try this highlighter a couple of days ago, and I actually quite like it. You just have to be mindful of how much you put, because it can get too intense and like you have like a strip of highlight in one go. But if you really tap off the excess and blend it into the skin, it gives you the most wet looking highlight. The shade of this highlight shows up a lot better, because the metallic flare from e.l.f., I find that I have to really like swirl my brush in and dig in to be able to get the pigmentation. But this one right here, a little tap off the excess, and then kind of like swirl your brush on your face, and as you can see, it's very intense. It catches the light. It looks like a wet highlight, does not intensify my textures at all, and it's just a smooth highlighter. And typically e.l.f. does a really bad job when it comes to highlight, because it's either going to be really shimmery, really glittery, or really sheer, or not pigmented, just like their Beige highlighters. e.l.f. came out with a bite-sized eyeshadow, and I picked up 4 of them. I was thinking of picking up all of them, but because they did not have the full range on the website, because they had sold out, I only picked up the ones that I think I'm going to love. So the first one is this Cream and Sugar, which is just your basic neutral eyeshadow. You have a dark shade, which you could use as a brow shade or brow powder, 2 shimmers, and like a beige color. I also have this one, which is called Pumpkin Pie. So this is more on the warmer tone brown, and this is really pretty. I think I'm going to use this for today because it's currently winter here in New Zealand. My blush is on that pinky rosy tone, so I might as well use this. I also picked up the shade Carnival Candy, which has got 3 mattes and 1 shimmer blue, which is so pretty. And then last but not the least, I picked up this eyeshadow called Hot Jalapeno, and this is green. I've been telling you guys that I've done a few green makeup looks, and I've been obsessing over green eyeshadow, and this is such a perfect green tone eyeshadow palette. I am going to start with this shade right here. It has a little bit of kickback when you dip into the shadow, but the eyeshadows only retailed for $7 Australian, so if you were to convert that in New Zealand dollars, that would be roughly around $9, which is still pretty cheap. So I'm going to pop that right on the crease, and I'm really going to blow out that shade. So now that the shade is laid on, I'm actually going to go to the Carnival Candy because I really want that warm shade. So I'm going to use the same brush and pick up that brown shadow. Oh my god, the pickup. And I'm going to focus that on the outer V. Wow, this eyeshadow is so pigmented. So I'm going to slowly bring that into the inner part of the eye. Probably for the past 2 months, I have done a lot of full face of e.l.f., but then I'm so obsessed with how they improved everything, from the branding, from their quality but then kept the price point. And I'm going to run a little bit of that shade on the lower lash line as well. I'm going to switch into a more smaller brush, and I'm going to dip into pumpkin pie once again and grab that darker brown. And then I'm going to just focus that on the outer V. And I'm going to go back to the warm brown that we use, because I want everything to be intensified. And then go back to the darker brown. Just stay under the crease. Maybe I will mix in a little bit of the shade from the cream and sugar. I will first go in with the shade right here, which has a little bit more of like a brown tone gold bronze. I'm going to use my finger. It's very, very pigmented. This will be a great dupe for the Natasha Denona palette. This is exactly the same look that you would come out with the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette, only that one is $100 more than this. And I'm going to go back to the brush that we used, the dark brown, to blend. I am going to move on to the cream and sugar and pick up this shade right here. It's a little bit more on that silvery kind of champagne shade, and I'm going to pop that in the center just to catch a little bit of light. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going to use the same shade from the cream and sugar. We're going to use the blue shade on the lower lash line to smoke it out. And then I'm going to go back to the blender brush with a warm tone brown. So I'll just quickly apply my mascara. I'm not gonna do false lashes with this look because I actually quite like how the eyes turned out. Oh my god, I'm so speechless. I feel like the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes from e.l.f. needs its own moment, so I think I'm going to do another video solely for these eyeshadows. So for the lips, I actually have two products from e.l.f. once again. I have the lip lacquer in Moody. This is what it looks like, and I have the latest lipstick that they have, and this is the Seriously Satin lipstick. The packaging kind of reminds me of the KKW lipstick, which I personally have not tried, but I've definitely seen photos of it on the internet. So this one is in the shade Cider, which looked a lot darker in person compared to the website, because on the website it looked more lighter, but I mean, where is it? It's this one right here. I actually quite like the tone of it. Maybe I'm not going to line my lips, so I'm just gonna go straight in with this lipstick, and this one retails for $7 Australian. It's very creamy on the lips. This is like a perfect terracotta brown nude that I've been looking for. Like I've been trying to look for this specific shade, and what do you know, e.l.f. has them. So I'm just gonna define my lips with the Wet n Wild lip liner in Chestnut. So here is the final makeup look. Honestly, if I were just to take a photo of this makeup look, you wouldn't think that everything is drugstore. So that just shows that you don't need expensive things to achieve like a more glamorous look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates. I would love for you to come back, and until next time, bye.